Hey, Coach, how you doing? Hey, with 3 games left, you guys control your fate. Just what is the message to like the team as you kind of get into the games where there's like the magic numbers are involved and like if you do this and do you scoreboard watch and I'm sure like a lot of fans do that, but you guys sort of internally, what are you telling your team?
Focusing in on the moment in the game and not overloading them with that in their minds. We are well aware of where we're at and, having the ability to control how we finish is important to be at home and to, be playing some good basketball. Good thing is, we have vets and competitors in the locker room who understand the moment, who've been through moments like this. And so it's about the game, focusing on the matchup, focusing on us, making sure we're locked in and prepared.
Coach, speaking of focusing on tonight, the Sparks, they have a lot of talent when it comes to their offensive ability. Hamby, Stevens, Rickea Jackson, they've all kind of had great games against you guys. How do you try to defend an offense that is just so explosive?
Make them defend. As much as they are very good on that end of the floor, they're not very good on the other end. So that's part of the game plan as well. We understand that they are potent from every position, and we have to contain them as much as possible. They want to score at a high clip and at a lot of have a lot of points, average a lot of points. We can't get into a game in which we're turning the ball over, giving up a lot of points in transition, and feeding into the way in which they want to play. Again, on the other end of the floor, if we look at their defensive number, there are things that we can exploit there. So just making this game as much as we can fit our style, and then really be locked into those particular players that you just named. It's the 3-point line, it's the paint for those three especially, and so we have to be really sharp in that area.
Now that Dom has been cleared for tonight, are there any limitations on her, and how important was it to have her back in the lineup against their size?
Very important. Adding Brink into the mix when Rickea goes to the 4. They have a really big lineup, and Dom really helps kind of neutralize some of that for us. And moving forward, as she's feeling good and no restrictions.
Coach, you may have touched on about it a little bit already, but what has stuck out to you about these games against the Sparks this year? I mean, obviously, the last 2 times very tight, very competitive, including the double OT game last time you saw them here.
Yeah, I think the first time we played them, they were without Plum. The second time that we played them was the double overtime game, and I believe we could have had it in regulation. Controversial moment in that game. The third time we played them at home, we were up 7 with 2 minutes. So we had to kind of close out games, make sure we're locked into like the moments that have that we've been a part of with the possession by possession game, making sure we're, being sharp. We gave up a couple of threes at the end of that game, and then you still had the opportunity to kind of tie it at the end, but we didn't. And then obviously the fourth matchup around it's again, Plum is at the top of the scout, but Azure is playing at a high level. Jackson is shooting the hell out the basketball. They have a really good offensive rhythm. So we got to make sure we're locked into taking our start is going to be very important. How we start the game and everything in between, just not allowing them to see the basket early and often and easy, making sure we're just locked in and physical where we need to be.
Coach, LA's kind of been very like hot and cold this year. They've had a big win streak, but they, struggled quite a bit as well. What do you kind of notice between the games where they're finding a lot of success versus the times they're getting beat?
Well, they got healthy. That was one. The other is Rickea in those games. She's, scoring early, and getting them going early. The other thing is their offense changed. They space the floor out more. They're running a lot of like Asia action, guard to guard action, Plum coming back to the basketball, a lot more movement and a lot more space. And because of that, because they shoot the 3, everyone on the court can shoot the 3. It really puts pressure on your defense to figure out what you have to stop. And then, when Burrow comes into the game, Van Loo comes into the game, the energy level that they play with, helps that pace as well. So to me, it is what they have done offensively that has put them in this position to be playing like really, really good basketball. So again, we got to make sure they're defending us and what we can do.
Coach, Sky seems to be playing with a renewed urgency, borderline angry, right? Is that more of a playoff push, or was that something from the 5-game slide that just changed the mindset? What do you see from your end?
Yeah, I think, internally, Sky deals with a lot. She's pushing through a lot of things. And so now it is, there is a lot of, the urgency is high with not only her, but our entire team. And, she's found some ways to get back to her game. She's been guarded now by bigger guards, more physicality. The coverage that she got on earlier in the year has shifted to just aggressive. So she's having to adjust to that. And yeah, she's been in this league for a long time, playing basketball at a high level, and sometimes going through the ups and downs of life, and then still having to perform at a high level. In a long season, it's fatiguing, but it's good to, have her in this pocket of playing some good basketball, being, through the ups and downs of what we were doing, wins and losses. She's still been playmaking. Her assist been high, finding opportunities to impact the game. So this is another challenge for her. Rakia usually matches up with her. It's going to be a tough coverage, but hopefully we can kind of get this game going with some space and some flow to have her see a couple go through and have her be her.
Hey, Coach, excuse me. Understanding they're coming off a back-to-back, how did that go into your game planning for tonight's game?
Last time they were coming off a back-to-back too, and a lot of times I try not to mention that because the team who does not come off a back-to-back tends to relax because of that. And so, we all watched the game last night. Washington came back a little bit and made that game pretty tough on them. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. Today's a new day. Yesterday happened. They got rest. They got recovered, and they're trying to make a push as well. So, the game was going to be played today, and that's the mentality to focus in on us and what we need to be doing.
We'll take one final question from Zoom. Andrew, go ahead.
Thanks as always, Coach. Particularly with Julie Alamon being their real de facto head of the snake with how she makes sure she playmakes for those scorers. You talk about how you felt your team has defended her those first 2 games and the challenge of trying to limit her playmaking.
She finds ways to kind of, turn the corner. Sometimes she starts the game playmaking, but then she kind of gets these sneak drives and she gets, to the rim and finds ways to find, threes and things like that. So we've talked about that with Julie. It's about, being physical with her, and a lot of teams go under her, but the reality of it is she can score and she could get to the rim, and though she begins the game trying to find others, it's important that we, kind of limit that with her as much as we can, being physical, being aggressive, being in her space as more than not. But she's been a big factor to, the games that we've played, and just timely plays with her that we need to be more alert with and more aware of.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.